Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be working on this 1965 Jeep Wagoneer, which after seeing the inside of this thing, I'm a little terrified about what I might find in there today. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that this might be the biggest and or craziest detail that I have ever done. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the transformation. All right, well, I probably should have taken this as an ominous sign for how things were going to go today when the owner accidentally turned into my neighbor's yard when she was coming to drop the vehicle off. Now, I sent her a quick text saying next yard over, and so she quickly turned everything around and made her way over to my yard. But to be honest, I was a little bit worried she was going to get stuck over there since the ground was a little bit wet from some recent rainfall. Now, once she made it over here, she asked me to back it up to the studio as she wasn't super confident backing a trailer up. So once I got it lined up with the studio door, she quickly got the ramps out and unstrapped it from the trailer. But one of the rear wheels was completely flat, so I had to run and grab my compressor from the house and got it filled up so it could roll better in no time. Of course, the next step was to just push the vehicle off and roll it into the studio, but it wouldn't budge. Now, because I wasn't familiar with the vehicle, I thought that maybe it just needed a little extra persuasion, so I went and grabbed my quad and tow rope. But when I went to hook the tow rope up, I found our problem. There was still a chain attaching the Jeep to the trailer. So I got that unhooked, and we were of course able to push it off the trailer now. However, the next problem came when we tried to get it the rest of the way inside. The slight slope it was on, combined with the fact that the vehicle seems to be made out of lead, made it impossible for us to push it. So I once again grabbed the quad, and thankfully I had about a solid inch of extra room here to squeeze it back inside the studio. Of course, I got it hooked up and was ready to give it a little pull. Only problem was that when I did, the rope got caught on something sharp on the quad and started shredding it. So this time I grabbed a set of chains to yank this thing inside, only when I finally got it moving, the loose end of the chain somehow caught hold of the drain pit grate. Yeah, things are really not going well here, but a few short minutes later and we were finally able to get this thing rolled in here. Now, after the owner was on her way, it was time to take a look at this thing, and after sitting for 42 years in the British Columbia mountainside, the exterior is in better shape than I expected, but it also still looks terrible. There's really not much for dirt on it, but the moss and lichen have found a home here as there's a fair bit of it around the outside. Now, when I finally laid my eyes on the interior of this Jeep, this is where I should have stopped. I should have called it a day right here. But I'm a sucker for a good challenge, and this is going to be exactly that. I have never, ever seen an interior like this. By all accounts, this thing is trashed. It's been sitting for 42 years, and all kinds of critters have made their home in here, even wasps, as there's a number of nests in here, but there's also been cacti growing in a number of spots. That is truly mind-blowing to me, and only terrifies me even more about what else I'm going to find. Before I throw caution to the wind though and actually start on this detail, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and give the video a big thumbs up if you're glad you aren't the one cleaning this Jeep today. Okay guys, well, before I can actually get to work on this thing today, I need to get these two flat tires aired up so I can spray them off and clean them properly, which thankfully my compressor was still full from using it yesterday. But once I got this done, I needed to take a closer look at this driver's door that didn't seem to want to close. I'm not sure why it wouldn't latch, but it wouldn't no matter how hard I tried. So for the second consecutive week, I had to grab my tuck tape and quickly get the gap here sealed off so I don't end up soaking the interior. Alright, well, working my way around the Jeep now, and if you're admiring this interesting two-tone paint job, well, you might be on an island. This is definitely not the original paint job, as it used to be all white, and the blue and orange here are giving me major Scooby-Doo Mystery Machine vibes, but clearly the previous owner must have liked it. The new owner, however, isn't a fan of it and intends to strip it and repaint, as her and her husband intend to do a full-on Barrett-Jackson level restoration on this thing. And that probably also answers the question of why I'm even cleaning it in the first place. My job here is to get the Wagoneer as clean as I possibly can, and that'll at least give the owners an idea of what they're working with. Moving up to the driver's fender here, and with all the stuff growing on this Jeep, it reminded me of the abandoned Ford Bronco I did a little while back, where there was probably 10 times the amount of moss on it. Be sure to check that video out if you haven't seen it yet. Now, even though this step might be completely unnecessary, I am still doing it as there are a few places on the Jeep where it's going to matter. Obviously the paint is completely shot, but all the chrome and glass need to be perfectly clean today. While I work on washing the Wagoneer though, I wanted to let you know that there is a brand new Yard Geek video that I just released today over on my other channel, the Yard Geek. After an insane amount of snow over the winter, the spring melt created some major problems for me as the water crept closer and closer to my house. So make sure you head over there after this video to check it out. And while you're there, do me a favor and show the channel some love by subscribing and maybe sharing the video too, as I'm sure you guys will enjoy the content. Okay, well with the Jeep washed and dried, it was time to remove my handiwork here and get inside the vehicle so I could remove the floor mat in the front, but I did have to quickly take care of the little bit of tape residue that's inevitably left behind.
When I've got a disaster detail to do like this one, I don't have time to cook myself a big and healthy meal. That's why today's sponsor, Factor, is a lifesaver. With delicious, chef-prepared, ready-to-eat meals in just 2 minutes, you can get back to baking in the summer sun, or cleaning a disaster vehicle like me. Factor takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success. You can choose from a weekly menu of 35 different options, and they've got more than 60 add-ons every week, like breakfast, on-the-go lunch, snacks and beverages to help you stay fueled and feel good all day long. Factor has so many nutritious options that keep my fridge well stocked, like smoothies and juices perfect for snacking. But the reason I choose Factor is that it cuts down on grocery trips, and I just really don't like cooking. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code detailgeek50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code detailgeek50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first Factor box plus 20% off your next month of orders.
Here's the clump of cacti I pulled off the mat a second ago, And if you think this is crazy, just wait until you see what I find under the seat later on in this video. It's truly insane. Okay guys, well it's time to start work on the interior now, but before I can actually clean anything, I have to remove all the junk in here, starting with this wrinkled sandhog here. Quite the name for a heating element, and I'm curious if it still works, but sadly we won't find out as it's going straight to the junk pile, just like everything else inside the vehicle, like the suspended ceiling tiles, pair of boot liners, and the broken piece of glass. Once I've got all this bigger stuff removed, I'll also go ahead and remove all the door sill plates and then get the seats removed too.
Well, that's unfortunate. Those bolts are not budging, which means the seats are not coming out today, which also means that my job is going to be more difficult. But like you guys have seen before, it's happened to me before. It's just one of those unfortunate realities about working on a vehicle this old. You can very easily run into problems like this. For me though, I just kind of have to move past it, keep working. But I did have a peek under this seat here, and it is absolutely stuffed full of cacti. Like there's piles and piles of them under there. I truly don't understand how that happens. Yeah, I have so many questions about this vehicle. Like it's bizarre, just truly bizarre. But anyways, let's carry on. And carry on is exactly what I'll do. Since I can't get the seats out, it just means I'll have to do some digging to get at everything hiding under them, which to be honest, I'm a little terrified I'm going to find something worse than the cacti. As I dig further into the junk in here, I keep thinking I'm going to uncover some sort of dead animal or something. Not that that hasn't happened before, but this one just feels different. Anyways, since I didn't want to accidentally poke myself on one of these cacti, I grabbed the dustpan to make things a little safer. Now as I pull more and more cacti out from under the seat, I just can't understand how this happens. To my knowledge, a cactus needs dirt to sprout and grow just like any other plant, so how could they have grown inside the vehicle when there's no dirt? Or did someone put them there 42 years ago? None of it makes any sense.
Okay, well, now that the back seat is free of debris, I can get inside here without getting debris all over my clothes, and unfortunately I wasn't able to get the tailgate to open as the owner didn't have the key and there wasn't a way to do it manually from inside, so that's definitely going to make getting this cargo area clean a lot more difficult. There's a pile of garbage back here that I have to painstakingly remove before I can even think about vacuuming, but to my earlier point, if I was going to find something gross in here, it'll probably be back here. Well, I called it, guys. I did end up uncovering a dead body. Nothing crazy though, just what appears to have been a mouse, though its body was a little mangled. Yeah, it's gross, but in the words of Mike Rowe, it's a dirty job, but someone's gotta do it. Though I do want to say that this kind of work isn't something I enjoy, it's just a necessary part of the job sometimes, and one that I have to always be prepared for. Now with all the bigger junk removed, I can see all of the smaller debris now, though I really don't know what this actually is. What I do know though, is that the job of cleaning this Jeep today is absolutely enormous and not something I can squeeze into one video. So for the first time in the history of this channel, I've decided to split this detail into 2 different videos. There was just simply far too much work here, and I really didn't want to cut things out, nor did I want to make a 50 to 60 minute long video, because who the heck has that much time to watch a YouTube video? Not to mention that my upcoming week was insanely busy with filming upcoming Yard Geek videos, finishing the one that was released today, and finishing this one. So rather than give you one longer, maybe subpar video without a reaction, I decided to give you guys 2 hopefully really good videos with the owner's reaction coming in next week's video. Okay, well the next step here is to get this giant vinyl floor covering removed, which I'll have to deal with later, and start on cleaning the floorboards underneath, which were covered in dirt, but there weren't any cacti growing back here, which only adds to the mystery of this vehicle. And actually, come to think of it, maybe the mystery machine is a fitting name for this Jeep. Anyways though, I'll get this vacuumed and then move up to the front of the vehicle. Alright, well with the owner's blessing, this red seat cover is destined for the garbage bin as well. Though as I move to vacuuming the front seats here, you can see they're in awful shape and either need a new seat cover or to be recovered completely, maybe even replaced. Though I guess if the owner is doing a full-on restoration of this thing, seat covers probably aren't going to be an option. Moving down to the carpet now, and I can't say I've ever seen anything quite like this material in a vehicle before. It's definitely not carpet, as it's more like a felt material if anything, but thankfully it wasn't too hard to vacuum. I am a little confused though, since the carpet in the second row is completely different from this stuff, so I wonder if this wasn't replaced at some point, 45 to 50 years ago. Starting in the second row here, and after about 10 seconds into doing this, it became clear to me that this carpet was in terrible shape. Not just because it's dirty, but because it was literally falling apart as I vacuumed. So seeing that, and I already know there's really no saving the carpet in here, and it just 100% needs to be replaced, though I'm not about to leave it dirty, so I'll be as careful as I possibly can and do my best to get it as clean as possible. Now as I work on this little section beside the driver's seat here, I can't help but wonder what all these little needles are that were covering most of the carpet in here. It's not something I've ever seen before, so if anyone knows, please let me know down in the comments. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this vehicle sat in the mountains in British Columbia for 42 years, so it is likely something local to that area. Okay, well as I continue working my way around the Jeep with the vacuum and my boar's hair detail brush, you might wonder why I do this step at all, since I'll be cleaning all these areas with the steamer later on, and the answer is just like with carpet, vacuuming ensures the carpet extraction is easier and smoother, so it's the same idea with doing this around the trim. Getting the dirt out of the crevices now is going to make things easier for me when I steam, as there won't be as much of a mess to clean up. Now if you're someone who enjoys detailing their own vehicle, then I would definitely recommend picking up a set of the boar's hair and maybe even the ultra soft brushes too. You can find them on my website at detailgeekautocare.com, and they're quite simply a tool that I couldn't detail without, so be sure to give them a look if you're interested.
All right guys, well that is where I'm gonna wrap things up for part one of the detail on this, I don't know what to call it, horrifying Jeep Wagoneer. This one's been pretty crazy so far, and I've done a ton of work on this thing, but there's a lot of work left to do. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it so far. Make sure you tune in next week so you can catch the end result and see the owner's reaction. It's definitely gonna be worth the wait. So before you guys take off though, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, I better get back to work.
Tune in next week to see more of this satisfying cleanup and to catch the owner's reaction to the insane transformation of her 1965 Jeep Wagoneer.
Oh my God, this carpet.
Turned out good, eh?
It turned out so good.